It's March 30th, 2020. It's been a little stormy here in Seattle, lots of rains and hails. The lavender and rosemary looks pretty much the same, and you can see the rosemary is actively growing now. Over here we have the new hydrangea. Let's take a closer look at the flowers that are forming. Still not sure what the flowers would look like. This is another variety of hydrangea. As you can see, the flowers look very different. And here we have the saffron. The leaves are turning a bit yellow, like this one too. You can definitely see the yellow tints in the leaves. Over here is the summer snowflakes. Only the middle one is flowering, and you can see a few more new flower spikes coming out. Let's take a closer look at the flowers. Looks very nice. It gets better every year, actually. I really like this white flowers. And then over here we have the green onion. As you can see, all of the plants are flowering. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the flowers forming. Here's the mulberry. You can see the buds are getting bigger every week. And the blueberry is gonna flower really soon. If you look closely, you can see the flowers gonna open pretty soon. And there's also a lot of leaves coming out. And then down here we have the lily of the valley. You can see a bunch of sprouts, and I think most of the sprouts also contain flowers. Let's take a closer look at one of the sprouts. Yep, this one is probably the pink variety, and there's a bunch more. Over here's the hyacinth. You can see pretty much all the flowers are fading. This is a lacy phacelia, actually. Probably gonna flower soon. And the hyacinth flowers. These are the crocus. You can see pretty much no flowers now. Over here's the grape hyacinth. You can see a lot of flowers. And then here was the strawberries. You can see the growth is definitely speeding up. Some leaves forming in the center. Some of them are kind of like sending out flowers, but they're not really flowering. Over here's the other hydrangea, looks pretty much the same. This is the asparagus. You can see this skinny sprout is getting a lot taller. And here's actually a thicker sprout. You can see this sprout is coming up nicely. Not seeing any other sprout though. Only 2 for now. The raspberry, you can see the buds are sprouting really nicely. This one is a bit slower, but it's also sprouting. And then this guy over here, there's a bunch of sprouts, as you can see. If you look closely, you can also see some flowers forming already. And the grape is looking good too. You can see all the buds are getting a lot bigger now. Here's a bunch more sprouts around the lights. Seems like the light could increase the sprouting speed, because, yeah, and also the temperature from the vents. As you can see, all the sprouts are opening up now. Over here, some more bulb plants, grape hyacinth, and then this, I think, is the striped squill. See that flowers are slowly fading now. Flowers doesn't last that long. Persian Pearl tulip, the same thing. You can see the flowers are fading. And then over here is the glory of snow. We have one flower here. And if you look closely, over here's another flower that's gonna come out pretty soon. It's kind of like bluish over there. And over here just the rhubarb. You can see it's sending out more new leaves. And here just a few more bulb plants and the artichoke. As for the indoor garden, here we have the zebra succulent plants. The baby plants is still getting heavier. The elephant food plant is sending out a lot of new leaves, but it's a little more bare over here. Over here we have the orchids. All of them are quickly sending out their vegetative growth. You can see a lot of new leaves. The mini dendrobium is sending out a few more new growths as well. As you can see right here's one growth, and there's another growth in this pot right there. The flowers are all faded. Here's the mini oncidiums. Just gonna take a look at them quickly. And then this is another orchid. You can see the third leaf is growing nicely. And here we have more orchids. Small pear plants. The leaves is getting taller now. Here's the frizzle sizzle. You can see all the flowers are faded. They could be easily pinched off. And closer to the base of the plant, you can see that second new growth is growing really nicely. Here's the succulent plants, and as you can see, that plant I planted last week has died, so it didn't work. Here's the snake plants, and if you look closely, you can see this new leaf is secreting some syrupy stuff. Here's the ficus tree, still sending out a bunch of new leaves, looking pretty healthy. Over here is more succulent. This guy looks pretty healthy, and the petal plant is looking great too. You can see there's a lot of new leaf growth. The dragon tree plant is doing really well too. You can see the new leaves are looking very healthy. Over here's the, what is this? The philodendron. Looks really healthy. And here's the pear plants. The leaf coloration is looking great. Like the pigmentation, it's pretty dark. Here's the hoya plants. You can see the new growths are all growing now. These new leaves are looking nicely pink. And here we have some new growth from the stem. You can see this stem is getting longer. And here's another new growth forming. You can see another new stem forming and some new leaves. So yeah, it's actively growing now. And then here we have the staghound fern. Let's look at the shield frond. You can see this one is still getting bigger. And then the second one is also slowly getting bigger. Lastly, we have the spider plants. It's looking pretty messy, and the baby plants are flowering. You can see right here is a white flower